Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our Candidates Forum this year. We're so happy to have you guys. Thank you to all the candidates for coming and participating in this. I just want to give a special thank you to Boeing for being our Candidates Forum sponsor. So thank you. Rich, thank you. Also to Junior Achievement of Washington for also being our event venue sponsor today. And so just so you guys know, this is how we can make these events possible for our community, by having sponsors. So we're really grateful for them. So thank you. Today we will be asking questions provided by our community and our board to the attending candidates running for office. This forum is not a debate. It is a friendly way for us to get to know all of our candidates that are running for office. The forum will be recorded. Please silence any of your electronic devices, please. Also, if you could do me a favor, we do have our people that are recording. Try to stay out of the recording area so that we can make sure that this recording is great. As we will be posting it after the candidate forum, so next week sometime we'll have it posted so that anybody who couldn't come today can still view this candidate forum online. Also, we did have somebody who regrettably could not be here today, wanted to be here. They're in Florida. I will be doing the candidate forum questions with them tomorrow morning, and we are going to record that via Zoom, and then I'm going to post that at the end of this video to give that person that opportunity as well. Before we jump into the candidate questions, I want to take a couple of minutes to give everybody some more information on Proposition 1. That proposition is on this year's ballot, so I think it's important for us to know and be informed about it as well while we're voting. Please welcome Valley Regional Fire Chief Brad Thompson, who will be touching on the key elements of Proposition 1 first.
Hello, thank you everyone, and I really want to thank everyone for allowing me a few minutes to talk about Proposition 1. I'd also like to thank Junior Achievement and the Chamber of Commerce for making this possible for us. Out of respect to the candidates in this forum, I'll be brief, but I just want to make sure that you're informed when you're looking at your ballot on November 7. For me personally, this is my disclaimer, I guess. This is for educational and informational purposes only. I have with me tonight Captain Tyler Eliason and Captain Dan Sequist, and they are here representing IAFF Local 1352. If they're still here after the candidates are finished, feel free to ask them all sorts of questions about what it's like to work for the Valley Regional Fire Authority out of our current facilities, okay? All right. So again, my name is Brad Thompson. I've been the fire chief for a couple years. I started with the Auburn Fire Department in 1999, and I've stayed with the same department the entire time. We were created by the voters in 2007. We're the first regional fire authority in the state. We cover 37 square miles, the cities of Algona, Auburn, and Pacific, and a little bit of the county. And we serve approximately 97,000 residents, and we go on about 16,000 calls a year. Just for a little reference, when we were created in 2007, we served a population of about 65,000, and we went on about 8,500 calls a year. So we're still working out of those 5 facilities. We have 125 uniformed personnel and 20 support staff. Something to be very proud of for your local fire department. We are a internationally accredited fire agency. That we're one of 7 in the state and one of 300 nationwide. It is an honor to be an accredited fire agency. You should be very proud of that. What do we do? Actually, I sit behind a desk. What do they do? These gentlemen, along with their coworkers, 85% of they're called firefighters, right? We call them firefighters. 84% of the time, they actually go out and provide medical aid. About 14% of the time, they respond to fire incidents, and 2% of the time they go on special calls, other calls, and those are things like hazmat, water rescue, technical rope rescue, and those other types of low frequency and really high risk calls. So this kind of breaks down what they do. plus a lot of other stuff. When I started, I could climb our ladder truck at the time, which was actually built in 1974. We have a newer one now. But I could climb our ladder truck and look across Auburn into Algona and Pacific. Has Auburn changed a little bit since then? What's happened to it, right? It's growing up. And as many are aware, this has been designated as an urban growth center by King County policy. So the growth is going to continue to happen. So with that growth is our people, right? That's where the growth comes from. A lot of our housing, those 5/1s, that's what we call them, those downtown buildings. So incidents follow population growth. I hope that makes, it seems pretty obvious, but it's worth mentioning. The concentration of our calls, it's important to have the right facilities in the right places, right? In order to be able to respond in the right amount of time to actually make a difference in your life when you need it. So Station 31, which is the station that's up by Fred Meyer, that sole station takes over 40% of the calls for our entire jurisdiction. You've seen all the growth in North Auburn with the new apartment buildings going in, and there's also a high concentration of senior housing. Often, all of our 31 units are on calls, and we have to pull fire engines and aid cars from other parts of the city. And now those parts of the city are uncovered because 31's just going on too many calls. So it means they're out of service too frequently. So what will Proposition 1 do? It will add a fire station in the northern part of our response area. We already own the property. It's at 30th and I Street. It's a perfect location based on our call volume and will allow us to respond to those calls in the north part of the city. And being on I Street actually allows us to stay off of Auburn Way, which is safer, actually, for all of you. We're going to relocate Station 38. Station 38 is the Pacific station, the station that's in Pacific right now, where we share it with the police. That station was built in 1979 for a volunteer fire department. It doesn't really serve our needs today. And it's in the wrong location, to be honest, for a fire department. I'm sure it's great for the police. We're going to move it, we already own the property there too, to Ellingson. What that will allow us to do is to go east-west on an arterial and also go north-south, either using A Street, C Street, or 167. Response times will be much better by relocating it. We will rebuild our headquarters, Station 31, to modern standards, and we'll make improvements to our support buildings. One other thing I really want to mention, and these guys can attest to it, is that currently we don't have a training facility. So when our firefighters need to go do training, certain types of training, a lot of their training that's required by law, RCWs and NWAC and NFPA and all those things, they have to travel to Kent and Renton and Federal Way to get that training done, which means those fire engines they don't get very good gas mileage, by the way. And they're traveling far out of town just to get that training done. So the intent of Proposition 1 is to improve the distribution of our resources. I'm sorry, I don't mean to call you resources, but that's what they are. Improve our response times and to improve the reliability of our fire stations, because Station 31, Station 38 aren't built to current code. And also the reliability of our ability to be available to go on those calls when they happen. When there's multi-queuing going on, when we have multiple incidents in one area, we'll be able to respond more efficiently. Everybody asks here's the key, right? What's it gonna cost? Proposition 1 will be on the ballot, and it's gonna seek $96.5 million of general obligation bonds maturing within 20 years. What that means for you as individuals, it's estimated that the cost will be about $12.50 per month for a $450,000 house. So that's about what it would cost. This cost was based on an in-depth study using a renowned architect, utilizing national and local standards for fire station design and construction. One other point I'd like to make is the VRFA, the Valley Regional Fire Authority, has not sought voter approval for capital facilities monies since 2008. So it's been 15 years since we've asked. We humbly, when we go out and put something on the ballot, it's because we really truly have a need. So hopefully I gave you some information this evening that you can use to evaluate how you want to vote on November 7th. Please visit our website for more information. Follow us on social media, and there are some flyers in the back to take home with you for contact information and FAQs. So I want to, out of respect to the candidates, I'm finished. Good luck tonight, and thank you again for this opportunity. Very much appreciated.
Thank you, Brad. I don't know about you, but making sure that our fire department has all of its resources is pretty impactful because there's at least 12 people in this audience right now that I would want my $1 a month to go to if something happened to them. So I just think about it in those kind of terms of how it's important to have a safe community, and our firefighters are doing so much to make sure that that is happening each and every day. Now I'd love to welcome Christina Presley. She is the HR director of Orion Industries, and also I have the pleasure of her being my board chair. She has graciously said that she would moderate this forum. So Christina, let's get this started.
Thank you, Casey. And this is my second year getting to moderate this. So if you happen upon a video of last year's, you might recognize that I've recycled just a little bit of the script, but the sentiment is the same. So let's get started. Good evening. Thank you, Casey. Thank you to everyone joining us tonight. I'm excited to be a part of the kind of event that brings our community members and leaders who are invested in our communities in a real way. It's no small thing that each of you is stepping forward to take on these roles in our government. As a member of the Auburn business community and as a resident, I thank you for being here. And thank you to the Auburn Area Chamber of Commerce, my fellow board members, Casey Bray and Mars, for pulling this forum together tonight. I'd also like to recognize all of the current city council members and Mayor Linnell from the city of Algona. It's great to see all of you here. And with that, we'll get started. Each candidate will have 1 minute for opening introductions. I have then a set of 4 questions that I'll be asking the candidates. You will each have 1 minute to answer these questions. Casey will be the timekeeper and is sitting right here in the front, and she'll give you a 30-second reminder and then a stop to the candidates when your time is complete. Next will be a series of yes or no questions. You have a card at your seat that says yes or no. And you can also decide that you don't want to answer. So it's yes or no, or no thank you. And then, of course, you may abstain from answering a question. Finally, each candidate will have 2 minutes to provide closing comments. All right, and with that, we will begin with opening statements. We'll begin with you, Mayor Linnell.
Thank you very much. I'm Troy Linnell. I've served the city of Algona for 10 years, 2 years on Planning Commission, 7 years council. Last year, the mayor, Dave Hill, retired, and I was appointed mayor. I also serve on the Board of Governors for the VRFA and on the Cities and Schools Commission and AWC and a few other committees that I belong to. As a community, we value the small town feel that makes our town unique. At the same time, we recognize the importance of generating sustainable revenue for our future. By carefully evaluating different approaches and considering the specific needs and goals of our town, we can find a way to balance these 2 priorities. Let's work together to protect our town's character while also ensuring a prosperous and sustainable future for generations to come.
Okay, and then you can just pass the microphone. Yep.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is David White, and I am a resident of Algona. I've lived there for 26 years, and prior to that, I was I was in the United States Navy where I retired. I was there for 26 years, and after that, I worked for Boeing for 15 years. This is my first time running for a public office, and I think that's all that I have.
Thank you. My name is Cheryl Rakes. As many of you know, I was raised in Auburn, and not to date myself, but I've been here 63 years. I went to Auburn schools as well as my children and my grandchildren. My compassion for Auburn is because my roots run deep here. It's my home, and it's also your home. Being the director of Downtown Auburn Cooperative has given me the skills and tools to look at the needs of Auburn. I am the only candidate that is endorsed by all the council members and the mayor, not because we always agree, but because I can work together for solutions. I will continue my efforts to revitalize Main Street and make it inviting to keep attracting businesses. I will continue on working on making housing more affordable and getting people off the streets. I will work with the legislation during the legislation session and be a voice to address the homelessness and the drugs that plague our city. The goal we all want is to be safe in our city, residents and businesses, and we must put the work in to achieve that. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Sturgis. I live in Auburn, Washington. We've been here for 5 years now. We are transplants. However, I'm from Reno, Nevada, and believe deeply in building roots in the community that we live in as our home. The reason I'm running is because I want our city to be safer and cleaner. My hairdresser wants to move her salon out of Auburn because she's tired of cleaning up needles outside of her door and seeing people overdose. She's willing to pay the taxes if she's able to see a return on that. And I have a huge passion for small business owners. I think we need to address the tax structure and be able to show them that their money is going to work for them. And I also believe that as a business leader, having no prior experience in politics, I can bring solutions to help us clean up our streets with the homelessness crisis that we're facing, as well as continue to make it a great place for people to want to do business here.
Thank you. Good evening. I am Deputy Mayor James Jayaraj, and I'm your re-election candidate for Auburn City Council position number 3. Originally from Singapore, completed my high school education and served in the Singapore Armed Forces before embarking on a journey that led me to the Pacific Northwest. I continued my education, achieving AAS in network technology from Renton Technical College and earning a BA at Whitworth University in Spokane, Washington. Currently employed with the Lighthouse for the Blind. In the upcoming term, my unwavering priorities are centered around enhancing public safety, addressing the issues of affordable housing, and fostering economic growth within our city. In addition to my civic duties, I'm actively involved in 2 local nonprofit organizations and with 2 South Asian groups. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So over the past 20 years, you know me, I'm Tracy Taylor. I've worked hard as a news media professional, specializing in general assignment reporting, traffic reporting all around the region. It was a fulfilling career as a reliable and familiar face in television and radio news, keeping people informed and connected. Now, I'm dedicating myself to making our community an even better place to live, to work, by addressing the issues that we're all facing. In my full-time government position in the city of Kent, where I serve the public, I've witnessed the importance of public service firsthand. I understand the concerns and the needs of our residents, and I'm committed to using that experience and making a positive impact. I'm running for council to ensure that Auburn residents feel safe, to help our community thrive with new businesses, services, and amenities, and to restore trust in local government by showing up, serving with integrity, and staying accountable to Auburn residents. I'm excited about the future for our city, and I'd be thrilled for your support.
Good evening. My name is Robin Malenga, and 4 years ago, you elected me to represent you as your city council member on the Auburn City Council. I ran because I wanted to be a voice for the whole community and ensure that the diversity of our city was reflected on the city council. I want to continue to be that conduit and a voice that addresses the issues that are important to you. I have been a resident of Auburn for 18 years, and I started my service to Auburn 8 years ago as a director of the Auburn School District, then moving on to the City Council. I am an experienced leader, and I am ready and motivated to continue working with my fellow council members to address homelessness, affordable housing solutions, revitalization of our downtown, crime prevention, and many other issues. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brian Lott, and my wife and I moved to Auburn about 4 years ago. Briefly, I was born in Portland, Oregon, raised in Vancouver, Washington. My professional career has spent 20 years of project management around the United States, working on large projects. I was a small business owner, starting a business in 2005 and selling it in 2019. And during that time, I grew it from scratch, from 0 to 150 employees and about $8 million a year in sales. And when we moved here in Auburn 4 years ago, I was real excited. In the last 4 years, I've just seen no progress. I mean, you've seen no progress in the homeless and the drug use and the crime. And so I decided I was going to get off the bench and run for the city council position. And my intent is to take my skill set and work on solving some of those problems. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Hanan Amr. I was born in Oklahoma, raised in Libya. I have a bachelor degree in chemistry, moved back here in 2008, 15 years ago. Through my time, when I moved here, I volunteer with Food Bank, White River. I'm active volunteer with Auburn Police for 13 years. I volunteer with United Way to file tax, so I know the community, I know the community need. I forgot to say, I work for Boeing Company as material process engineer. Why I'm running, I want to create safe, vibrant, inclusive community for everybody. I want to find solution for homeless, support small business, and make sure my city is safe.
Good evening. My name is Kerry Garberding, resident of Pacific, Washington for 33 years and running for the mayor of Pacific. Back in October last year, I was approached by the current mayor to run along with several people in the community that asked me if I would be willing to take that challenge. I have a deep love for my town. I can't imagine living anywhere else but in Pacific. I see the changes that have been made over the last several years and the way society has changed. One of my big goals is I'd like to expand on our parks in Pacific, and also our recreation and our senior community center. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. So next we'll begin with the first of our 4 questions. You will have 1 minute to answer the questions. Carrie, we'll begin with you and then just send the microphone back this direction. All right, question 1. What is the biggest issue facing your city's residents, and what is your plan to solve it?
One of the biggest issues we have with our city right now is our roads. I hear it from all the citizens in town. Problem is we have such a small budget to work with. We really have to rely on grants, and one thing I would like to see if I am elected is to hire a full-time grant writer to be able to write grants not only for public works and for streets, but also for our parks and recreation.
To answer the question, what city face now, let's say talk about homeless, which cause issue to the business, increase of a crime, how to solve these connected together. I know like in the police, we need to add more police, which Auburn City doing so well by having the police. We need to make the change in the law to allow the police arrest people. And we need to make big change with King County, where sometimes you arrest someone who steals a car and they release them. So these the bigger thing. And my other issue, I want the growth of downtown Auburn. So that's one of my dreams, to see the growth in city downtown Auburn. I want to see it similar to Renton Landing area.
You know, I think the biggest issue is twofold, and it's mental illness and drug use. And I think there's a combination there, and the output of that combination is a certain amount of crime. And I think the city needs to work on targeting services to the people that have mental illness and in working with the police to get them off the streets and get them free of some of the drug use so that they can be treated. And I think that that's a huge issue here that's just not being addressed. And I helped somebody to a homeless camp the other day that had food, and I started to talk to him, and he was somewhat fearful about this, and I could tell he's a drug user, but at that time he wasn't on drugs, and I thought, this is the person you could target to try to get him off the streets while he's off drugs, and I just don't feel we don't have the outreach for that right now, and I'd like to improve that.
One of the biggest issues I think that's facing Auburn, I think you've heard others say it, is the crime. Just today I was in Walgreens and someone broke in and stole a bunch of stuff. This is unacceptable and it needs to stop. And one of the things that we're doing was in the downtown corridor, we've been increasing police patrols. That seems to be working. So I want to see if we can do that in other parts of Auburn. In addition, we've just passed an ordinance number 6912, and that is no loitering with intent to engage in drug-related activities. I want to see that work. Right now with our municipal courts, we have about 90% of folks that are being prosecuted as no-shows. That's unacceptable. And so what we're doing is looking at the municipal court system and seeing how we can change that so we can start prosecuting more. Thank you.
I think one of the biggest issues that we have in our city right now is the mental health crisis. I mean, obviously that leads to drug use as well. I'm in pretty much support of everything that Brian and Robin have agreed and said here. That's a huge issue for us. I feel like we need to support some initiatives, strengthen law enforcement agencies. We need to be proactive in giving officials the tools that they need to help these people, because if we don't have those tools and we don't have the support behind our police department and what they need to do, the outreach for this, we're going to continue to see this grow and our city is going to be taken over. Thank you.
Thank you. My role as a council member, this is my commitment I bring to the table. Currently, our police department's budget accounts for approximately 38% of the city's total budget. I'm resolute in my dedication to continuously advancing the quality of our law enforcement. To achieve this, I've supported investments in cutting-edge equipment and comprehensive training programs, all aimed to ensure that our officers are nothing short but the very best. During my time in council, I championed the allocation for resources for crucial tools such as body cameras, tasers, and acquisition of 49 patrol cars for the next 6 years. I will be advocating for the establishment of municipal court, one of the priorities accountable to our citizens. This is because our crime is getting out of hand. Thank you.
I think I'm going to echo the same theme. It is definitely that our streets are not safe and they're not clean, and it's that simple. We need to, prioritize. I keep hearing homelessness, but there are different types of homelessness. And so we need to understand and have a priority around the buckets of homeless population and then address them appropriately. So whether that be for mental health and drug addiction, mandating treatment so that we can get our streets safe and have the people who are causing the crime removed from the street so that we have a chance at helping them. Providing resources, we have tons of resources in the community to the ones who want the help, and those are families, youth, what have you. And so I believe that we need an actual strategy and tactical action items that can address the different populations, and then that also encompasses really supporting our police department with the resources they need to be able to lower response times and help address this.
Thank you. Obviously, everybody's kind of on the same terms of what's going on. Safety is our biggest issue in Auburn right now, I believe. If you look at the police department, we have 7 on duty at night. They can't be everywhere in Auburn at night, so we have to increase our patrols. And in order to do that, a couple statistics, nearly 75% of cities are foresee having to hire new officers. Nearly 40% of current law enforcement officers are either eligible for retirement or will become eligible in the next few years. 41% of cities anticipate that retirements and resignations will impact the public safety. So if you take an officer and you hire him and you put him through the academy, it takes about 1 year before they can hit the streets. Auburn has been hiring. I think we have 10 in the academy that's getting ready to come out. We really need to boost the morale and the productivity of our officers to be able to get the public safety under control.
Although Algona, I echo the comments made by the other cities. I think most importantly for me is to try to increase the growth of businesses in Algona and also extend communication so that we are all on the same page and we all know what's going on. And I think that's all I have.
The biggest challenge that we have in Algona is actually flooding. Our city is very low sea level, and our water table is very high. And we have a ditch that runs along the West Valley Highway, or excuse me, along the 167 highway. This year we we started cleaning the ditch out. That helped. We're in the process of spending $1 million to buy some land so we can put a big retaining pond in to help mitigate the flooding. So that's the biggest challenge, is to get water out of people's yards.
Very good, thank you. All right, we're going to mix it up a little bit. So pass the microphone to James, please. I know. All right, here we go. Question number 2. What do you see as your role in promoting economic development as an elected official?
Thank you for the question. You know, I am steadfast in my mission to attract businesses to our city. I've observed a trend of businesses relocating from Seattle due to restrictive conditions and high taxes. As a council member, it is our responsibility to address the challenge. I propose revisiting the B&O tax and introducing incentives for small businesses and mid-sized manufacturing companies considering a move to our city. In the last couple of years, I know of 4 such businesses that have moved to Auburn. We must also work tirelessly to rejuvenate our downtown area by enhancing its appeal, a goal already in progress with the Downtown Cooperative mural projects. It is imperative that we actively promote our local businesses to create more vibrant city for our residents. We must never forget that alongside our residents, our small businesses are the lifeblood of our community. Which way?
Either way.
Fantastic. Thank you, James. I think in order to attract businesses, we need to really kind of do a lot more outreach. We need to support employers and workers. We need to continue to create opportunities in enhancing the overall quality of life for the residents as well. I'm a proud arts commissioner. Postmark for the Arts is a stunning new facility that the city has, and it is properly being promoted. But we need something to kind of build around that, and we need to attract more businesses into the downtown corridor by essentially elevating and lifting up this Postmark, because this is a beautiful facility. And we also need to consider doing more transit into the city too. In order to have businesses or people come to your businesses, you have to have a way to get there. And we fall short when it comes to transit in the city. Thank you.
For economic development and growth, one thing that I see that our business owners are saying is, I need qualified, talented applicants to be able to fill these jobs. And for me, one thing I'm a proponent of is making sure that students have that technical education so they're able to fill those jobs. And we call it filling the pipeline. We need to do better with succession planning and making sure those students are prepared for those complicated and more complex jobs, especially in the STEM area. And I have been on the Cities and Schools Forum, not only as a school board director, but also as a council member. One of our huge initiatives was to help creating living wage jobs for students and partnering with businesses to have those positions ready for those students. We're still doing that work, it's ongoing, but that's one way we can definitely build economic growth for our businesses, especially here in Auburn. Thank you.
Well, I think, for businesses, it's twofold. You have to have incentives to come into town, but the other thing is you have to have customers. And right now in downtown, people don't feel safe, and it's a huge issue. And I think that's why you see when you go downtown, the other night I was there and there was maybe, the most I'd seen in a while was 12 people walking down the sidewalk. And people don't feel safe downtown, and you're not going to attract businesses until you get that under control. And so I think there's a combination of incentives in enhancing the safety of the downtown area before you can entice businesses here. And enticement is giving them incentives, and some of that could be qualified workers in a working pool to work for them. But ultimately, it's customers wanting to come downtown and spend time there. And right now, I don't see it, and I live downtown and walk around downtown almost every other day, and it's a real problem. So,
I will repeat what they said, safety. Because I know the police last time they were doing the patrol, one of the things they were saying, it's not okay if I'm a small owner to come into my store to find someone boob in front of my store every day. This is one of the things that drive people. So you cannot hire someone with the salary you get and you be doing the job. This is one. Second, we need to increase the transportation. My dream to see the Sounder go back to work longer hour so we can bring people from Seattle. And we need parking. So for all these people coming to the downtown, either we need parking or we need shuttle to move between areas. That's how we increase people. You need to find something to attract people, then you get this many small business willing to move to Auburn.
Well, one thing I think we all have in common is we all want to give incentives to businesses to come into our towns and cities. Pacific's kind of unique because our downtown core, there's not a whole lot you can build on in that. And I think for most of the residents, they really believe in the small town feel of Pacific. And the nice thing about Pacific is it's, you have that small town feel, but if 5-10 minutes, you can go down to the mall, you can go up to Federal Way, you can go anywhere. And most of our opportunities are down in the south end of Pacific, over in the King and the Pierce County side. And I'd like to see more businesses move into there. And again, not to beat a dead horse, but I'd also like to see our streets improved because that'll bring people and businesses in.
For economic development, I think it starts with creating culture and pride within Auburn, getting back to what our identity is and having people be proud of that. Reason being is because we need to want to shop here and we need to want to do business here in Auburn. What I'm hearing from every business owner that I'm out talking to multiple times per day is that they're tired of the theft, the property crime. They're willing to pay the taxes if they were seeing a return on their investment. And so the fact that our car dealers have had to install thousands of dollars worth of fences and low jacks in order to recover their stolen vehicles that happen weekly in their lots is a huge expense. And so for small business owners that we currently have, we need to make it safe for them to be able to afford to keep doing business here. We need to then also have a tax structure that does entice new businesses to want to come in. But we also need to work with developers that when we're allowing a large piece of our land to be redeveloped, we need to have some sort of mutual value exchange, that there's going to be rules that that property can't sit vacant for a certain period of time, and that they have to end up leasing out that property and filling it with businesses for our community.
Thank you. As being on the council and as my role as the executive director for Downtown Auburn Cooperative, which is also this downtown association, I deal with economic development every day. I will tell you that we have put a lot of things in place, and one of the things that we did first was make it a community down there, make the businesses a community. So they all work together, they're all involved. We've did things, you cannot expect businesses to come in if you don't have a main street that's inviting. And so that's what we've been working on, putting 26 planters, we've put 7 murals. So I think it starts there. You have to make it look inviting. I also agree that there needs to be some push to make the apartments, the newer apartments, rent their retail space, because they stay vacant because they're very, very expensive. I don't have very many openings for businesses in the older part of Main Street, but when you get down by City Hall with those businesses below the retail, it's very difficult to rent them, and that's why they're still open. So I am pushing to have the mayor put some kind of incentive to make them rent those.
In Algona, for economic development, I think that our best and honest movement is going to be near the West Valley Highway Road and the new transit station, and probably have some more businesses in that area.
He stole my glory. No. No, he's absolutely right. We've lived with real estate taxes for the last 50 years, and we're to a point where we do have to bring in some other income. And we are going to start developing along the West Valley Highway. In the negotiations with King County, when on the transfer station, we negotiated the 25 acres that the old transfer station sat on. And so in 2026, we'll get that 25 acres. They will have cleaned up the old transfer station. And we're currently working with developers to develop it, bringing in some restaurant and retail into that area. We're also in the process of permitting a 400-unit apartment / townhouse complex down at the end of First Avenue. We just started permitting a new hotel down by the Hinshaw's Honda. I know it's not Hinshaw's anymore. And then we do have, along with the 400 units, we'll have a 10-story hotel on top of that hill. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's send the microphone down to Brian. All right, thank you. And the next question is, if elected, what 3 steps would you take to create a safer city for residents, businesses, and visitors?
Well, I think probably step number 1 would be sitting down with the police and giving them the resources, or budgeting the resources they need, and whether that's resources for personnel, for equipment, or a combination of both. I think they need more staff out there on the streets and night, like what Cheryl, I think, commented earlier, and during the day. I think, I like it when I see the police on bicycles, and I don't see them that often. And I think that the other part of awareness is making sure that people know when they see something to say something. And I don't know, I get the feeling that at some point people have stopped doing that, because when I talk to residents around town, they don't think that them calling the police and giving them a tip or calling the non-emergency line does any good at all at this point. And I think that needs to be investigated, and people need to be told the only way the police are going to be able to react is they can see the trends and know what's going on in town. And I think really, out of 3 things, those would be my 2 top things, would be getting the police the resources they need and telling the people they need to be part of the process.
I went to ride alone with Auburn police. We stopped near Lowe's, and he saw someone try to steal something. So it was action. Oh, we will pursue. I was so ready. He looked to the license. Then when the guy turned in A Street, when the officer turned his light, guess what he did? He flew. So we need to push to change the law. I'm a person in color. I understand why the law being put there. We need accountability. So what I want to do, I want to work hard to go back to allow the officer do their job. When you call in, yeah, they will come there, but with their hand tied, they cannot respond or arrest. So this is one of the things. Even if I'm being elected or not, I'll be working to make the change back in the law.
So for me, when legislature passed the bill for the Police Reform Act, that, as I'm sure everybody agrees, really ties the police's hands. We had an incident in Pacific where we had two pickup trucks rammed on both sides of the small little Guy's Market, and it was called in, the police got there, and law states that they cannot pursue. They cannot chase them. So all they could do is follow them out of town and then take the license plate, come to find out that both trucks were stolen. So it's that staffing of your police department. We're very fortunate. We just approved in our budget to add an additional police officer, and we've got one finally. The one final police officer we need is actually in training. He's a ride-along right now, and he'll be on his own here pretty quick. Thirdly, just training and supporting the police. People see things, tell them.
Yes, I think there's a couple of things that we can do. For one, more police. The police budget is about 38% of the city's budget, so it's a pretty large percentage. We've already put some things together to make sure that the police feel like we appreciate their work. One thing that they asked for is take-home police cars, so we went ahead and purchased that in the budget, so we'll see that over the next couple of years. That, we think, will incentivize other people to come and be a part of our town and want to serve as our police officers. The other thing we need to do is watch out for each other. We currently have a block watch where we're asking the neighborhood to watch out for what's going on and to be able to call, if you see something, say something. The other thing is that we're also, I said earlier, we're looking at our court system. How can we, as a city, do the most that we can do? What laws can we come up with here that we're allowed to do that can help reduce the crime? In addition, what can we do with our court system? Right now, it's run by King County. We're thinking about taking controls back for ourselves and being able to see the judges that we want to see in the courts. So that's another option for us, so stronger on the prosecution. Thank you.
Robin stole my thunder, man. You got me on that one. No, I really agree with everything that Robin had said. I think ultimately what it comes down to is supporting the initiatives that strengthen the law enforcement, giving them the tools that they need to get the job done. Also, I'm also going to agree with Robin in the sense of a lookout for each other. In the city of Kent, I run the neighborhood program, a very robust program that all collectively works together. It's 52 neighborhoods that I work with on a daily basis. We all communicate very well together, and we all do things together, from Kent 101 that we have, facilitated, to neighborhood grants and whatnot too, to beautify their areas as well. I feel like the more that we can clean up around our neighborhoods, the better off that we are and the safer it becomes. Also, I think what it comes down to is being proactive for our police department and getting them the tools that they need to succeed. Because right now, I know that we have budgeted for 118 officers, and that's going to continue to grow as long as we can continue to support them and give them the tools. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. As I said earlier, I'm resolute in my dedication to continuously advancing the quality of our law enforcement. To achieve this, I have supported investments in cutting-edge equipment and comprehensive training programs, all aimed at ensuring our officers are nothing short but the best. During my time in council, I've championed the allocation of resources for crucial tools, such as body cameras, tasers, and acquisition of 49 patrol cars in the next 6 years. Equipping our officers with the cars they will be able to respond swiftly to emergencies, and that is very important at this point. Furthermore, I will be advocating to establish a municipal court, one that prioritizes the accountability to our citizens and not the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Three things that I believe that would help to improve our safety in the community is rooted in supporting our police department. One is we did a study back in 2019 in Auburn that gave us a wealth of information on what the strengths and weaknesses were. I would love for us to take that information and make more actionable progress. One of that being the culture within the police department, setting clear behavior expectations that we are able to hold our police officers accountable to, and be able to stand firm in what we expect so that we can have the great officers celebrated for doing their job great, and we can hold the bad officers accountable and not be worried about a lawsuit. The second piece of that is to give our police officers the resources they need. We need to look at their pay and compensation structure. We have the lowest incentive out of all of the surrounding cities for attracting officers to our city, so it's making it very hard to recruit the 15 plus open positions that we have, which is then of course affecting our existing officers who are being overworked and not being addressed to their health and safety, or we're not addressing their health and safety. The last piece is we need to, again, have pride and culture in our community, setting clear expectations around us as citizens, following the laws. And if you don't, you know that you will be held accountable.
Thank you. So I agree with everybody. So when it gets to the end, it's kind of hard to come up with your three. But of course, build up our police, but they also need a new facility. They are crowded, so that makes the morale bad. They don't have a good workout place there. So I would advocate that we get that going and get them a bigger facility because our town is growing. We're almost at 100,000. We're going to need a bigger police department. But with that being said, I would say that the other thing is the municipal court. I'm all for bringing our municipal court back so King County's not making the decisions for us. So I will support that as long as I'm in council. The other thing is I don't want to forget about our firefighters either. The police and the firefighters are going on calls that you would never imagine that they would have to do with the overdoses. And so I think that we need to push our legislation for more money for mental health beds and treatment facilities. I was out, my time's up, bye.
Three things to provide safety for our business, our residents, and guests, our tourists. I think the most important thing, like everybody else said, is supporting the police. The second thing I think would be communication and looking out for each other. And the third is addressing mental health.
Thank you. First for me would be infrastructure. Our roads are in need of repair and upgrades. And I'll be asking the state legislature to prioritize funding for infrastructure projects that will make our transportation system safer and more efficient. And with the threat of climate change, it is important that the city invest in infrastructure that can effectively mitigate flooding and protect our homes and businesses. As with everybody else, public safety, the safety of our residents must remain a top priority. We'll be asking the state legislature to work to increase the number of police officers and invest in officer wellness and resilience training and equipment to ensure that they are equipped to respond to emergencies.
Thank you. All right, we've made it to our final question. Let's give Cheryl the microphone so that she's not the last one to answer this time. Cool? Good? Good? All right. How would you measure and evaluate the effectiveness and impact of your city's homelessness policies?
I think that our city has put a lot of things in place for our homeless policies. Unfortunately, not all the funding is there for it. We have the resource center, we have the community court, we have everything, but getting someone into treatment is not always easy. I worked with this on the streets downtown Auburn. I worked with our Kent Hay, our director, and I tell you, I went on one call, and that's what I was going to end with this on the last segment, it was on National Night Out. Kent and I had to stop by and talk to somebody. He wanted to go into treatment, and he wanted to go into treatment right now. There is no treatment facilities open at night. There was no place to take him. He wouldn't stay in a shelter because he knew he was coming down. So literally, there wasn't anything we could do for him. And I don't like that feeling. I did not like that feeling. So I'm going to push for more money for treatment facilities and for mental health beds.
Well, measuring the effectiveness, I think we need to have data to work from. So I would want to perform a study to understand the different segments of homelessness. What numbers are we looking at? We are a large enough city, but a small enough city to be able to understand the actual number of, is it mental health, drug addicted homelessness? Is it families experiencing homelessness? Is it youth? And then be able to look at the appropriate resources and actually set some KPIs of wanting to see that the resources we have are being used appropriately and that they are actually making it through the funnel to a solution. The other piece of that is that in order to measure the effectiveness, we need to look at the money that we're spending in this area. We have a lot of nonprofits that we spend money with that are helping to, unfortunately, continue to perpetuate the issue. And we need to be able to partner and figure out how to get people off the streets appropriately, use the resources we have and the dollars we have, but also make sure that we're not unintentionally adding to the problem. So looking at the budget and making sure it's allocated appropriately.
Thank you, Lisa. Homelessness is a big issue. At this point, we have 2 resource persons in our city who go out and approach these homeless folks and provide them resources. And we do have a resource center, and the city of Auburn leases that place for the next 5 years at $500,000 a year. So, and the food bank is there, the community court is there, the shelter is there, just about everything they need. And the community court will take them through step by step to get them to the place that they need to be. There is that very small population that refuses to get in. And those are the people that we say, you can't stay here after 72 hours. It is difficult, but we have to do what we have to do. And we will continue doing, I will continue doing the work that needs to be done to get people off the streets. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Essentially, our measure for success in Auburn on homelessness isn't like how many times they move locations or find themselves in jail. I agree with Lisa. KPIs need to be set. We need to work closely with allocating our funds and into our resources. We also need to continue to work feverishly with our nonprofits to make sure that they find the resources that they need. And it all, I think ultimately what it comes down to is our homelessness team here in the city of Auburn, it went from just Kent to now another person, which is, in a way, it's successful. I mean, if we continue to see that team grow, we will see more outreach and we will continue to see the problem slowly dissipate. But we need to give them the proper resources and give them a little more budget allocation to get the outreach done. Thank you.
So here in Auburn, I feel like we have made some progress. We do have, as people have mentioned, the day center, which is the Ray of Hope. We have our overnight shelter, which is a sundown night shelter, but there's more to do. There's another faction of homelessness, and that's folks that just simply can't afford to live here. We have first-time teachers, we have policemen, we have firefighters that can't even live in Auburn here. We have families that have lived here and had to move out because they can't keep up. Statistics show that only 3 out of 10 rental homes are considered affordable. That's an issue. So one thing I think we need to do and we need to address is how can we bring affordable housing here to Auburn. I know there's some plans that King County has presented to the council. I'm very interested in pursuing those. We also have some land that's opening up, 900 acres for Sequoia. That potentially is a place where we can put more affordable housing. So that is a way to help with the homelessness, is to provide housing solutions for those that need it. Thank you.
Hi, well, I think that, and it's been mentioned already, I think reporting is a key part of this and correct budget allocation. And Part of my issue with the city is that when I go to the city's website, the homeless task force hasn't been updated in over 2 years. And so how are you supposed to get a gauge for what's working and what's not working when the task force hasn't been updated for over 2 years? And I think it is correct that there's a certain amount of this population that's here that doesn't want help. But there are some people that are stuck in a vicious cycle that need help, and I think it's targeting those people and getting the help to them. And that includes the people over on Green River that seem to fall in a no man's zone where nobody seems to want to take jurisdiction or responsibility for them. And it's real troublesome because everyone seems to push them around in downtown and they end up out there and then nobody wants to accept responsibility. And what ends up getting trashed is the Green River area. And so that needs to be addressed as well.
I'm a positive person, so I have to mention we have Kente who did a great job. I think he helped a lot of homeless, and he put them in the right path where he put them, they got job, they really back to the normal life. If we talk about mental health, I thought in April there is a lobby passed for King County for mental health. Let's push to see it in work. We have the hotels here, the one King County bought. Maybe, I know they put it in help, maybe we need to use it. I understand the homeless create issue, and the city already have, in 2021, they passed law that you can arrest it if you make damage. When we have more officer, maybe they can follow it. But again, their people need help, and we need to provide them the help. There is resource, we need to give them the resource. This is something we need really to focus, not to talk about them like it. They're human. So this is one thing we need to care about it too.
So in the town of Pacific, I would say most of our homeless people are pass-through homeless. We had a bigger problem 2-3 years ago when they seemed to be hanging out down by the park that's only used half of the year, which is fine, but the citizens that live in that area were complaining about vandalism. There was thefts, car break-ins, you name it. And unfortunately, the city of Pacific really does not have anything budgeted for the homeless. We rely on social groups and on county for help and the fire department. I mean, the fire department will go out if there's episodes, and something we don't see a lot. Like I said, we don't see a lot of homeless people. We do see them down towards Ellingson and the highway, but most of what we have in town of Pacific are pass-through transients.
As far as this homeless subject, I don't think I'm adequately qualified to comment. I'm going to let the mayor see.
Thank you. No, we're a town of 2.2 square miles and 3,179 people. Our annual budget is $8 million, which sounds like a lot of money, but compared to Pacific at 24 million and Auburn at hundreds of millions of dollars. We have no services in town. The policy is if we have somebody come through, we get them help the best that we can, and we depend on Auburn in Federal Way. Give them a choice. Where do you want to go? We work at keeping people off the trail and keeping the trail clean, but that's where we're at.
Very good. Thank you all so much. You've made it through the hard questions, right? Except that I have 10 more. But 10 more are the yes/no questions. So go ahead and grab your cards. So just hold up your answer to the following questions, please. Do you support ballot measure Proposition 1? Great. Are you in favor of council and mayoral term limits in your city? Okay. Do you think your city needs to raise your budget for policing and other public safety measures? All right. Are you in favor of imposed fees on commercial retail space that has been vacant for 3 years or more? All right, next question. Have you participated in a police ride-along within the last year in your city? All right, next. Have you met with your local Chamber of Commerce staff and/or board in the last year regarding the needs of your business community? All right, next. Are you in favor of Washington State capital gains tax? All right, next question. Are you in favor of increasing your city's B&O tax? Next. Are you in favor of safe injection sites? And final question. Have you voted in the last 3 elections? All right, we made it. Thank you. Thank you to all of our candidates. Thank you to all of our candidates for your thoughtful responses to all of these questions that came from your communities. We'll now be moving into closing statements. You will each have 2 minutes, and we will begin here with Mayor Linnell.
Thank you very much. I was sworn in as mayor in January 2023, and I'm proud to have been involved in reducing the flood risk by clearing the Highway 167 ditch, building new relationships with the Washington Department of Transportation and Department of Fish and Wildlife, obtaining $1.6 million in grants for our wetland project, creating a new code enforcement and permit tech position, streamlining the utility billing process, creating a junior council and a community center advisory board, and working toward acquiring property to mitigate flooding, adding the sports field, and creating walking trails to improve community health. Additionally, developing open spaces and parks can provide many benefits to our community, including increased property values, opportunities for recreation and exercise, and improved mental health. Living in a small city has its perks, but it can also feel cramped and overwhelming at times. That's why parks and open spaces are so important. They provide residents with a place to escape the hustle and bustle of daily life, to breathe in fresh air, and to connect with nature. Parks and open spaces also serve as a gathering place for community events and activities, bringing people together and promoting a sense of camaraderie. In addition, they provide opportunities for exercise and recreation, which is essential for maintaining physical and mental health. In all, parks and open spaces are an integral part of a small city's infrastructure and can contribute greatly to the quality of life to its residents.
I don't know what to say. Anyway, this has been very interesting to me, and I'm sure within the next 4 years that I will learn a lot, and I will be able to say more and be able to answer some more of the questions. But for right now, I want to say thank you.
Thank you. I was sworn in as council last January because it was a position that Chris Stearns left. I would like to continue on my journey with that to get some things accomplished because I haven't had that much time to do it. I serve on the Public Works Committee, the Community Wellness Committee. I'm the second vice chair for the Lions Club. I served on the Transportation Board. I have my certificate in municipal leadership. There's a lot of work to be done, and there's a lot of work to be done in other areas. Obviously, we've all talked about safety. I want to continue my journey on getting our city safe and clean again. I also want to continue on making housing more affordable and going to the legislation to talk about that, because that's not a local thing, that is a state thing. The goal is we all want a safe city for our residents and businesses, and we must put the effort into it to get it done. I also want to continue my revitalization of downtown, making it inviting to attract more businesses. Like I said, we've got to put some kind of incentive to make them rent the retail space in the bigger apartments. We're working on that. We're also working on some amenities downtown that everybody's been wanting, so there'll be some good things coming down there. I will support the city government to be more transparent and fiscal responsibility for the budget. Budget season's coming up, so I ask for your vote for me to continue my work. Thank you.
This timer is the most stressful thing. Okay, well, I am a wife, a mom, a friend, a community leader, and a strong advocate for nonprofits in the community throughout my entire career. I've thankfully found a career in financial services, which was able to educate me and teach me how to manage money, and I have overcome a lot of life's challenges that I feel like give me experience to have empathy for a large variety of perspectives here in the community, but also in my leadership capacity in my prior roles. I feel that my strength is strategic planning, but also being able to then implement and execute the plan, and then to have accountability back to the shareholders or to the customers on the execution of that. And so as I'm learning this new role of politics, we as a community need to hold our city council accountable to showing you tangible actions that have happened based on what we say we're doing. And as I watch our city council meetings, and as I've gone out to be in the community to hear from the community what the community needs so that I can be a strong voice for that, my goal is to bring energy and to infuse some energy on our city council so that we can start making faster progress, better progress, and start chipping away at the things that we say we need to do, and making progress. It doesn't need to be perfect for us to make something happen. We need to just start doing. And my goal is to run so that I can help move things along a little faster and better for our community.
Thank you, Lisa. Ladies and gentlemen, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of you for joining us this evening. I want to thank the sponsors and the Chamber for hosting this important event. As many of you are aware, I had the privilege of earning your trust in 2019. When you first elected me to serve on the council, my unwavering belief is in the creation of a secure environment for both our citizens and thriving business. Some of the issues that we need to continue tackling is crime, economic growth, and affordable housing. Our city has grown. In the last 4 years, 10,000 people. That's a lot of people. In the next 20 years, we're going to probably see another 30 to 40,000. So these are just a few of the vital issues that we're tackling on the council. And there's more in the horizon. In conclusion, I want to share with you a vision of our city's future. I envision a city where our citizens can live free from harm, our children can play safely, and attend schools. Parents are secure in comfortable homes, and employment opportunities are abundant within our city. It's a place where grocery stores are within walking distance, and a community that thrives to point where businesses are eagerly compete to establish themselves here. Once again, I'm your proven leader and pledge to consistently to do what is right for our city. I'm Deputy Mayor James Jairaj, your declared re-election candidate for the Auburn City Council position 3.
Thanks, James. So throughout my career, my tenure actually in the media industry, I worked with a lot of local governments, from high DOT down into Olympia and whatnot. I understand how important the services and programs that Auburn provides for people that live and work here. I see it every day as a public servant in my full-time position at the City of Kent. Now, most of you have trusted me in your day-to-day life for almost 20 years, bringing you the news, the weather, and the traffic. I stand before you with a promise. I promise to listen to you, to collaborate with you, and to make decisions that are informed by your needs, your aspirations, and your dreams for this city we call home. As a trusted member of this community, I understand the power of accountability, and I promise to be transparent, accessible, and dedicated to serving you with unwavering integrity. So Auburn, let's come together. Let's build a city that we're all proud of. With your support, I'm ready to work endlessly to transform our priorities into reality. A safer Auburn, a thriving community, a thriving economy, and a more connected community. As someone you can trust and that you have trusted, together we can make a difference. So I ask you to vote for me, Tracy Taylor, Auburn City Council, position number 3.
When I ran for the city council, I was on the Auburn School District on the board, and I was able to plant seeds of equity, diversity, and inclusion with the city council. And when I was elected to council, I was able to see that work flourish to the point of now we have an office of equity. I made promises when I was running to ensure that diversity would be a priority, and I kept that campaign promise. I am proud to say that we are an inclusive city that creates opportunities for full participation for our residents and our businesses. And we try to work to eliminate disparities. I've said that we are a tight-knit community that looks out for each other and cares for each other. This is the place where I chose to raise my sons, which have now both gone on to attend Stanford University. I taught my sons hard work, and I also work hard. I will continue to work tirelessly for you, and I am running for re-election because there is more work to do. There are homeless people on the street that need housing. Our residents and our business leaders want to feel safe in our community, and we all want to see more economic growth in our downtown corridor. I want to bring solutions to these and other pressing issues. I ask you to help me to do that, and I ask for your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
Hi, I'd like to thank everybody for their time today, and I have no real prepared remarks here. I'll say what I bring to the table is 20 years of project management and another 14 years of being a small business owner. And between those two, I've developed some skills that I think I'm pretty good at. And one is being a very creative problem solver. And that comes from years of just dealing with all sorts of crazy things in project management that comes up. And the other thing is managing and being fiscally responsible with budgets. And to me, when I am entrusted with a budget, I treat it like it's my own money. Like, this is money coming out of my wallet, and I'm going to get the most leverage I can from that dollar I spend and the most outcome, all positive outcome. I don't want to waste money, and to me, this is your money you're entrusting with us, and somebody should be held accountable with it, and you should get the most you possibly can of every dollar we spend. And so I kind of bring that fiscal responsibility to the table. And the other trait that I have is I look at everything at a lens of common sense. And depending on the day you ask me, I may say we're in short supply of it. But I have seen solutions that, while they look great on paper, when you hold up the lens of common sense, they're very likely going to fail and cost you 3 to 4 times as much money for trying it. And so I kind of look at everything through that lens of common sense. And so I'm hoping that the people of this town will look at me and say, we'd like a fresh set of eyes on everything, somebody that's a newbie that's only been here 4 years, a fresh set of eyes to take a look at everything and reevaluate what we've got and figure out what's working and what's not working and help us find solutions for the future. Thanks.
I'm not sure if you know the feeling that when you have bad hair day, I'm having bad hijab day. So sorry for that. So I talk about my volunteer. I'm volunteer with Auburn Police for 13 years, Girl Scout 35 years, United Way, over 10 years doing tax. I'm volunteer with public health with the Red Cross. Guess what? I'm wearing my Gold President Award for my volunteers hours. This is all that beside full-time work for Boeing, where I'm leading one of the labs. I think all this, my diversity, my commitment brought me prepared for this. I forget to mention, I'm one of the Auburn Planning Commissioner. I spent 1 year. I'm still doing it. I'm active with the city. When I decided to run, they told me I have two options. Either don't put my photo or change my name, because I'm more a capable chemist. I will win the vote, but because of my photo or my name, I will not be elected. Guess what they did? You see my yard sign everywhere with my smile. I'm a lion. I'm so confident the city changed, the city diverse, the city needs someone match the people there. I want to create the safe, vibrant, inclusive community so everyone gets opportunity to thrive. That's why I'm running. And I hope you will vote for me. I'm running for position 7. And I forget to mention, my campaign, American, because I'm American, and they can.
So when I started on council 8 years ago, I did it basically because I saw what was going on in our city. We had just gotten over the crazy mayor. I'm sure everybody knows who that is. And my wife actually got me involved in politics. She was on city council and she said, why don't you run? So I did. And the more I got involved with people, the more I got to understand my community. They're a great community, great people. Like I said, we have had to change over the years, different demographics coming into our town. I also sit on the Board of Governance along with Mayor Linnell, have been on there for 6 years. And I had the opportunity when I first joined the Board of Governments of going to fire ops over in Tri-Cities area and seeing exactly what a firefighter puts in on a daily basis. Putting on a full gear with air pack, the whole 9 yards, really made me appreciate what those guys go through. Secondly, I belong to 3 different organizations. I'm currently on the Pacific Partnerships. I've been on it for 6-8 years. We put on the Pacific Days, and we're a 501c3. We just started a new Parks and Rec 501c3 to try to expand our senior and rec centers. And currently on the board for the War Memorial that's going to be doing the ribbon cutting on the 10th of November. And I ask everybody that's interested to please come out. That's on the 10th down on 3rd Avenue in Pacific. Thank you.
All right. That's it, you guys. Thank you all to all of our candidates. This will conclude our 2023 Candidates Forum. Thank you all for being here, and I just want you to remember to vote local and make sure that your ballots are sent in by November 7th. Thank you all so much.
Hello, I am here with Clinton Taylor, who is running for Auburn City Council, position number 5. Clinton unfortunately could not make our candidates forum that we had last night. So I'm welcoming him from his hotel room in Florida to be able to provide him the same questions that we gave all of our candidates last night. He will also be under the same time constraints as what we provided to the candidates of last night's candidate forum as well. I do have one question to ask you. Clinton, at any time between last night to today, have you been told what these questions are ahead of time?
No, I have not.
Okay, great. I just wanted to double check with you, sir. All right, we will go ahead and get started. You have 1 minute and I will be pressing record. So I'll be staring at the timer to be able to give us who you are and why you are running, sir.
Well, good evening from Orlando, Florida. I do appreciate this opportunity to take part in the forum. I wish I could have been there, but work called and I already had this scheduled on my agenda months ago, so I couldn't get out of this obligation. But again, thank you for this opportunity to participate in the forum. I'm Clinton Taylor. I'm running for Auburn City Council position number 5. And I'm like everyone else. I've lived in this city for almost 15 years, and I'm running to, continue to see our city be safe, as well as making sure that we have the partnerships and resources in the city to make sure that we're staying engaged with the growth of the city, as well as making sure that for us as a city, we have a diverse leadership, we have accountability in leadership, and I also want to bring our city together, because I feel like, as our slogan says in our campaign, that together we can make a difference.
Great, thank you, Clinton. All right, well, we will start with our first question. Our first question is, and you have 1 minute for each one of these questions. What is the biggest issue facing your city's residents, and what is your plan to solve it?
Well, biggest issue I think right now that's facing our city is the homeless crisis that we have, or the homeless issue that we have. And I think one of the things that I would do if elected to city council would be to continue to work with the organizations in our area that serve the homeless population, work with organizations that have already established successful programs that are helping folks to be housed and get off of the street for those that want it. And I believe that there needs to be a combination of mental health and chemical dependency services provided with that, as well as for folks to have an opportunity to get into workforce if they want to. And so looking at innovative ways that other folks around the country are dealing with housing issue, because it's not exclusive to just Auburn. And if it's working, it's working. And if it's not, let's find out why it's not working. And let's continue to make sure that everyone has a place that they can live and affordable housing.
Great, thank you. Okay, question number 2. How would you measure and evaluate the effectiveness and impact of your city's homelessness policies? Sorry, I should reiterate that question.
Yeah, just to continue what I was saying just a minute ago, one of the ways that you can measure that obviously is by how many people are actually getting housed, how many people are connecting with the existing services that already exist in our community. And so we can track that, do data. We can also, track that through actual testimonials from people who've benefited from the services that are provided out here in our community. And I think that there needs to be an accountability piece, as I was saying just a minute ago, is that if it's not working, then we probably don't need to continue, funding programs that aren't working. And if it's working, how can we help those programs continue to expand and reach more folks with the services that they provide? So definitely, we can look at the data, look at the numbers, and then, one surefire way of knowing if it works is talk to the people that we're actually providing the services for.
Great. Okay, question number 3. What do you see as your role in promoting economic development as an elected official?
One of my roles, I would say, is definitely trying to promote, more businesses and small businesses coming into the community. But how do we also support the small businesses that are already in the community? Real quickly, I have, one of my board members on my organization who's a small business owner here in Auburn is having to downsize and move back into a smaller location, had to lay some folks off. I just saw a lot of us have seen Venifero's, the Italian restaurant, closed down. And so just finding creative, innovative ways to make sure that we're supporting our local small businesses that are already here. And then how do we present Auburn in a way that's attractive to other small businesses that want to come into the community and bring their businesses and jobs and be a part of this community. And so that would be working with the chamber and working with other leadership in the city to make sure that we are staying abreast of what the business owners in the community are saying.
Thank you. Okay, question number 4. If elected, what 3 steps would you take to create a safer city for residents, businesses, and visitors?
What 3 steps I would take? One would be to continue to work with the police department and making sure that we support them as much as we can with the resources that they need to continue to make our streets safe. I would definitely spend some time or a lot more time out in the community, actually talking to residents in the community and hearing from them on what some of the issues are, because it's one thing for us to say what it is or think we know what it is, but actually hear from the folks that live in the community. And then I would work with the existing council to work with leaders in the community to try to make sure that we are working with other folks in the community to just provide a safe community. And that's probably one way, is like looking at what they're doing in other cities, because we're not, immune to some of the issues that are happening in our city, like they're happening in other cities and other places around the country, and being really strategic about how we're rolling these things out and how are they benefiting the community as a whole.
Great. Okay. So now we are on our yes or no questions. Clinton does not have the cards that we had yesterday at our candidates forum. So instead, Clinton will just simply answer yes or no or abstain from the question. So we will begin. So first question is, do you support ballot measure Proposition 1?
Yes.
Are you in favor of council and mayoral term limits in your city?
Yes.
Do you think your city needs to raise the budget for policing and other public safety measures?
Sustain.
Are you in favor of imposing fees on commercial retail space that has been vacant for 3 years or more?
Sustain.
Have you participated in a police ride-along within the last year in your city?
No.
Have you met with your local Chamber of Commerce staff and or board in the last year regarding the needs of the business community?
Yes.
Are you in favor of Washington State capital gains tax?
Sustain.
Are you in favor of increasing your city's B&O tax?
No.
Are you in favor of safe injection sites?
Yes.
Have you voted in the last 3 elections?
Yes.
Great. That's all of our yes or no questions. So now is the time that you get to provide closing statements, and you will have 2 minutes to provide closing statements to tell the rest of everybody who is watching this video about you and why you're running, and anything else you'd like to say, Clinton.
Well, thank you. I feel humbled and honored to have this opportunity to run for a city position or a government position. I feel like the qualifications and the skills that I bring to the table as a local business owner or founder of an organization. I work at the state level, the county level, city level with various state agencies and a lot of the community-based organizations and nonprofits and faith-based organizations statewide. And I feel like the experience that I've gained through all of those different partnerships and working at those different levels would really translate well in this role as a city council member. And I'm just looking forward to being able to bring some fresh new ideas to the city council. I'm looking forward to working with those that are already on the city council or new city council members that'll come in after the election, and really rolling up our sleeves and continuing to build on the work that has already been done in the city, and looking forward to what the next 4 years for the city could look like. Because at the end of the day, I don't look at folks as constituents. I don't like that word. You're my neighbors. And I live in this city as well. My family, I raised my kids here. Now my grandkids are in this community, and this is our home. And I want to make sure that everybody is inclusive, everybody's respected, everybody has the same opportunities, and making sure that this is a city, when people hear Auburn's name, they want to go either explore the city and see what it might look like to live here, or would, consider relocating here because they say Auburn is a place that I really want to live and have my family be a part of that community.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time. We will have this video online for everybody. And then also please share it and vote local, everybody. So thank you so
Yeah.
much.